Hallo an alle von euch da draußen, ich bin's Emily und ich habe Deutsch selbstständig gelernt, ohne dass ich übrigens ins Ausland gegangen bin. Und ich möchte euch auch heute in diesem Video zeigen, wie ihr das Gleiche machen könnt mit diesem Plan. Also buchstäblich von Woche, was zu viel? 1 bis Woche 52. This video is not going to be in German, but I did want to show you what you guys can accomplish after you follow this plan. This video is especially for you if you have ever felt frustrated with your lack of improvement in German, or you are looking to learn German in the new year and you don't know where to start. Do make sure to stay till the end of this video because this video is literally going to give you from week 0 to week 52, okay? Stay with me and let's go to my presentation. We are going to make sure that we are covering grammar, vocabulary, reading, writing, listening, and speaking. This blueprint does assume that you are learning German from zero. I will leave chapters marked in the video so you can skip around even if you're at A2, B1. This also assumes that you define fluency as having reached a B2. Just to standardize it for the purpose of this video, each of the months display up to 4 weeks only. Some months will obviously have 5 weeks and some extra days outside of just those 4 weeks, right? So whenever this happens, use those to review your weaknesses or what you need to review from the month prior. Pencils of different colors to color code, notebook for building your personal vocabulary list, grammar that you want to write down. I also want to note we are starting this video in January, but you can adjust this year-long plan to whatever month you start German in, okay? I did make a free language learning habit tracker for you, so there is an easier way to track your German learning. Just go to the comments and sign up for it. Okay, so week 0, before you even start this plan, pick your 3 YouTube channels that you like if you want to add that as just additional resources for listening outside of regular study time and keeping variety included in your German study plan. Now, if you are confused about where to even start for finding out what YouTube channels you might like, then I included this. It's also in the description, so make sure to check out that video. The next thing you're going to do in week 0 is locate your 2 base resources. So Nico's Weg is what we are going to use as our primary base resource, and then Nthuleen is going to be our supplementary base resource. And I'll go more into what these are. Use Nico's Weg, as I said before, and it's a great listening, vocab, and grammar combo. It is truly one of the most comprehensive free video courses that I have ever seen for German. 1 lesson per day, and complete 30 to 31 lessons by the end of the month. Now, some grammar will overlap with our supplemental resource Nthuleen, but this is good. We do need that repetition, and it's good to be introduced and exposed at least to new concepts and vocabulary in different useful contexts, right? Even if it's through a worksheet and it's not through Nico's Weg. Also, the same thing goes for German YouTube channels. So if you're seeing something that you have never run into before, whether that be even a vocabulary or grammar, a structure you are not familiar with, that is also very normal. Again, early exposure, and even to things that we don't fully understand is still positive for you. This is an absolutely great resource to have additional practice outside of the video course for Nico's Weg. And then we have here review and implementation time, which is just reviewing vocabulary and grammar learned from the above programs with the chosen vocabulary review app. Okay, I always recommend an additional 30 minutes added to about 2 times per week to focus solely on this implementation time. Monkey has all decks for all of Nico's Weg, A1 to B1, so it really saves you time not having to make those cards yourself, so you can get right to active studying, okay? Now, you will remember that I talked about a notebook that you can write down for your personal vocabulary list. So you can also review that, just read over it in your review and implementation time. You can also review any handouts, printouts, or digital copies of worksheets or charts or your own grammar notebook from your base resources so far. We have Monday to Friday, about 30 minutes Nico's Weg, about 30 minutes YouTube channel, and we're going to pick that instead of Nthuleen. The first 2 days, again, we're going to replace the Nthuleen suggestion because we really want to work on learning the alphabet. and you're going to learn it while shadowing pronunciation from a YouTube channel. You'll also get to hear the common expressions, greetings, German Pod 101 alphabet, as well as beginner phrases, help your ears attune to the language. Now, I will say, if this is your very first foreign language, it is best to know the grammar terminology first, and this can be done with Nthuleen's cheat sheet seen here. I would highly recommend spending extra time outside of your 1 hour per day reviewing this guide for 5 to 10 minutes, at least for the first month, okay? So you're not slowed down during studying when you don't know what a grammar term means. This really slowed me down when I was self-studying German because you feel like you have to reference, okay, what is the perfect? What is the Plusquamperfekt? Really, if you are new to language learning and you learn more of the grammar of your own target language or of English that you already know, then it becomes easier to learn the grammar of another language. Trust me on this. So after that, these first initial 2 days, you're going to finish the first 7 lessons of Nico's Vague. Now, please be aware, any of the plan that you're going to see, whether from month 1 up into month 12, okay? You can follow this to a T, but it is also meant to just be a base guideline for you, right? If you don't have any sort of free time on Mondays, you can double the study time for Tuesdays. But don't beat yourself up if you can't follow the plan absolutely exactly 100%. So especially during the very first week, since we are getting used to the language, and sometimes what Nico's Vague presents us with in some of the very first episodes, it can feel very fast. Lesson 7. This is a great example for where you can start using the supplemental resource in order to support what you're learning in Nico's Vague. So lesson 7 is Woher kommst du? And the focus for that grammar lesson in Nico's Vague is on the present tense. If you feel like you need more help with different explanations of understanding verb conjugations, you can also scroll down to Nthuleen and you can open up this worksheet for extra practice with verbs. Then you can fill in any extra time gaps with the 3 YouTube channels that you do enjoy, and or you can add extra review and implementation time for this month. So by the end of month 1, you should have at least 28 lessons done with Nico's Vague. The main differences that you're going to see from month 1 to month 2 are you are going to double the consumption of Nico's Vague because we had a really good warm up in month 1 to how the program is laid out and what we can generally expect from its format. We're also going to include a huge review week of A1 material at the end of the month. As you can see by the increase of time, review plus implementation for 60 minutes and 60 minutes on Saturday and Sunday here. Again, if you need a little bit more time to finish 2 lessons per day, over 30 minutes this month, then be my guest. You are not looking forward as much to using Nthuleen only. You can also substitute it with German.net, which is a great simple German drill website for you to really practice grammar. But if you feel like Nthuleen is still a good match, then keep it with you. Again, if you have been following this plan exactly, you will have finished A1 around the 3rd week of month 2, okay? So use those rest of the 10-ish days, depending on the month that you're in, to review the course material that were your weak points from level A1. And or finish up more supplemental exercises, listen to more German from your YouTube channels, etc. For month 3, main differences are we are going to, start Nico's Vague A2. We are going to add some writing practice. Don't worry, it's not going to be too much. And we are going to add a language resource audit at the beginning of the month, which you see here. First week, we're going to start with Nico's Vague A2. Minimum 1 lesson every day, anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes. We also have our optional sort of supplemental resource practice for anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes here in blue. And then we have our optional listening. Now, what do I mean by language audit to include? We are going to check in and you're going to ask yourself, are your YouTube channel picks and supplemental practice resources still serving you? See if you can tweak them by how you consume them or what you consume them with. And I'm also hosting a live deep dive workshop on how to do an effective language learning audit, especially when we are not sure what resources to go for or we have too many. So make sure to also sign up for that. This is a great reflection time to do that. Now for week 2, everything is pretty much the same, but we are going to go a little bit more into writing. If you are wanting more details about how to write in a foreign language, even for beginners, then look at the card above or in the description below, because I'll include my next video for how to do just that and how to pick different topics for that. But really, if you even get in 3 to 5 basic sentences of what you have been learning up until A2 in German, then that is good enough for our writing portion. Month 4, our main differences are we are doubling the consumption of Nico's Vague A2, and we are going to have a big review week of A2 material at the end of the month because we're going to be able to already have finished up the course by the end of that time. And we're going to alternate between speaking and writing practice for month 4. So everything is pretty much the same up until we get to the weekends. So for speaking, do a 30-minute lesson wherever it says speaking, okay? And you can find really good teachers on either Preply or italki, or any sort of vocabulary or grammar that you might discover during your writing sessions. I would definitely record both of those things into your grammar notebook and your personal vocabulary notebook that we discussed at the beginning. I know that we can sometimes develop a habit of not looking back at corrections once we are given them. So be careful with that. We want to make sure that review time is very effective. So just write down and record your observations and make sure you at least read through what you were corrected on once before ending your writing and speaking sessions for this month, all right? And as you see here, we are done with Nico's Vague. You might be finishing Nico's Vague a little bit before the 4th week. So again, use any extra time to review all of your A2 material and any sort of A1 material that you feel like you need to. Your weak points of where you need more practice with whatever vocabulary or grammar or structure, those are going to become even more apparent as we enter month 4 and we've started to end A2. Focus and refine those weak points with review for the end of this month. Here we go for May. Our main differences as we enter month 5 is we are getting to start Nico's Vague B1. We're going to add both writing and speaking practice on weekends, and we are going to add a language resource audit at the beginning of the month, just like we did for month 3. We're going to swap your listening resources if needed as you start noticing what gaps and skills you still need to fill, or you start to notice, hey, like these resources I was using for level A1 aren't working for me. And the reason I upped our writing and speaking is because I'm guessing, especially if we want to speak German, we really want to make sure that we're not only writing down exercises, we are also being able to actively produce the language. This is the main reason why people can study a language in school for like 4 years and they understand grammar and they understand listening, but they can't speak and respond back, right? You're training totally different muscles in your mouth, your ears, as well as the sight of when you see other people talking, when you are actively working on speaking. So we're going to really focus on putting out output so we don't run into that same problem as we are learning German, and help you really spontaneously use the grammar and vocabulary you have been working so hard on. The way you start dividing up your time between using Nico's Vague and supplemental based resources, plus additional YouTube channels or other input, they may start deferring a little bit more as you learn even more about your weaknesses as you approach this level, okay? You may find you've got this and do more than one lesson a day. You may find that, dative and accusative differences are your weak points, so you need to do more supplemental exercise instead of more lessons in Nico's Vague for one day, etc. It is truly okay to adjust this B1 routine to working more on things you need. By month 6, this is our second B1 month, we are not going to do a language learning audit. We're going to replace that instead with our very active, more spontaneous output production. As we head into month 7, we are already finishing up B1 of the Nico's Vague course, if you can believe it. We're going to do our typical language learning audit here just to make sure that our resources are fitting our goals, that they are still useful and effective. Feel free to swap around resources as you like. But again, we're limiting our input to just 3 at any given time. So if you're using any books or podcasts or language channels, make sure to just limit it to 3 at a time. The last 7 to 10 days, you're already going to be done with Nico's Vague B1 if you have been working diligently every single day to finish the course. If you haven't, then it might take you a little bit longer and you might go into finishing the course in the very last week. Whatever day you do finish, make sure to use those days as really good review days when you aren't using the course anymore. And we're still going to continue with our writing and speaking, writing and speaking, writing and speaking output practice on the weekends. Now we're entering month 8. Our main differences are we are going to swap Nico's Vague for Lingoda slides. You can download all of their materials from there without ever needing to book a class with the site if you don't want to. Now, if you don't like my suggestion for Lingoda slides, you can use your own preferred base resource. We're going to increase study time to minimum 2 hours per day, and we're going to talk at least once a week with a teacher or a tandem partner. Ideally with both because they cover different things. A tandem partner is going to be for your day-to-day talking, chatting, and being able to even write in real time what you are going through. With German, I especially like Hello Talk for this because you can see the errors that you make in the language, especially when trying to implement all of the grammar spontaneously that you've learned up until reaching a B1. Also, just be prepared for the fact that in month 8, you will most likely be more personalized and picky with resources you want to use, again, because you've gotten to know yourself thus far for 7 months as a language learner learning German. So you are going to keep noticing your weaknesses and preferences for learning style at this point. We're also going to increase the limit of listening or other input resources for reading from 3 to maximum using 5 resources at any given time. Again, to reduce the overwhelm, but give you a little bit more variety about what you are using. So again, if you want to use any sort of graded readers or different podcasts, switch up YouTube channels you're using, then be my guest. Now, technically speaking, if you go from month 8 up into month 12, doing one lesson of Lingoda every single day, you will be able to accumulate all the knowledge you need in order to reach a solid B2 and even start studying for passing the B2 Goethe exam, only if you go at the rhythm of what this study plan suggests. So the reason I haven't made an slide for month 9 up until 12 is because it's basically going to look like this, except, probably at least 2 more times throughout month 9 through 12. I do still suggest you do a language learning audit for your resources just to make sure they're still interesting for you. It is very personalized from here. But again, if you do follow this sort of formula, then you will have accumulated the knowledge that you need in order to confidently establish yourself at a B2. From month 8 up until month 12, if you're not starting from January necessarily with this study plan, then ideally you will have finished all of your base resource, which would be, according to this plan, the Lingoda slides. And if you have been sticking consistently to your lessons, to your review and implementation time, especially to really integrating the corrections as you get them from your teachers, from your tandem partners, then I promise your possibility for success is very high by the end of this year. However, if you do feel like you are struggling with a lot of either mental or any more logistical or emotional barriers and you would like to get unblocked and accelerate your progress, I love to coach language learners on all of these aspects. So do make sure to book a call in the comments below to see if we would be a good fit to work together. Other than that, leave me in the comments any questions you may have. I'd be happy to answer them for you, and I'll see you in another video soon.